Here's the truth. Most beginners don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they fumble opportunities that were already in their hands. I've watched so many people land amazing opportunities, get trained by the best of the best, sit right next to success, and still blow it. Not because the leads were bad, not because the system didn't work, but because they didn't treat the opportunity with the respect that it actually deserved. And the reason I say this is I went from 0 to 40K a month in under a year with high ticket sales, and I've been in this industry for the last 3 years. And I've actually gone on to train and work with dozens of sales reps, which some of them turned this first opportunity into six-figure careers, while others had the exact same opportunity and lost it within weeks. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the real reasons beginners blow opportunities that they get with real life examples that I've actually seen. So if you're listening to this and this is relatable for you and this sounds like yourself, listen up because this can potentially change your life. Sweet. Now the first thing you have to understand is you can't expect full-time results from part-time effort. The most common thing that I see in this industry is people treat sales and online business like it's something they do when they feel like doing it. They skip morning meetings, they miss admin, they don't do their EODs, they show up late, and they wonder why nothing clicks. Sales at the end of the day rewards obsession. You either show up as a professional, you show up as a business owner, or you let the opportunity pass by. And I'll share a story with you where I've seen this in real life. For context, I'm a sales manager and I manage on multiple opportunities, and one of the opportunities I manage on is a multi-7-figure offer where anyone sales reps can come in and do 5K, 10K, even above that if they push hard. Now, one of the sales reps that I hired turned out to be one of my family friends that I put in a really good word for with the founder and hired him to manage on my sales team. Now, the problem with having a family friend is they think that they have a lot of leeway, so he wouldn't show up to meetings. He'd pretty much treat everything like a side hustle and have very low call availabilities. He'd come in and not do his EODs, not do his admin, send, unprofessional text to prospects. And what I realized was, man, I made a big mistake by hiring someone as a family friend. I need a professional. And I made the hard decision to go, you're fired. I'm gonna kick you out. I'm sorry. This is how it is. I need to bring someone with higher standards. And I actually kicked him. I kicked my family friend and I bought someone who was actually a professional at high ticket sales, and he crushed it. He actually scaled the whole opportunity and he was doing consistent 7 to 10K a month. Fun fact though, after that, I actually rehired my family friend after I took a bet on him, and he said that he's gonna show up, he's gonna be disciplined, and he's never gonna make that mistake again. And kudos to him, he came in and absolutely crushed it. He went from 0 to 10K a month and is now doing consistent 10K a month ever since then. He's done his admin, he shows up every single morning, he does the work, and now it's his full-time gig. And it just goes to show the biggest takeaway here is treat it like a business. Treat high-ticket sales like your own and not a hobby, because side hustle efforts never build full-time income. And once you change that, like it happened with my family friend, you can completely change your life. And once people get the opportunity, they often make the next big mistake. And that's getting the opportunity is not the win. Keeping it is. Right? A lot of beginners celebrate too early. They get accepted into a team, they land an offer of their dreams, or they start dialing, and suddenly they act like they've just made it. They've arrived. And that's when performance drops. The hunger fades and the opportunity just slowly slips away. For context, I used to be this guy. 2-3 years ago, when I landed my first role in high ticket sales, I'm not gonna lie, I was very excited. Obviously, I landed my first ever role, but as soon as I landed it, I found myself coasting a little bit, and I thought, okay, cool. The offer will just magically lift me up. The offer will just magically get me to where I want to be with just 10K a month, and I don't need a dial, I don't need to take sales calls. Obviously, that's not the case. But what I noticed was I almost got to the point where my offer owner said, hey man, you're lacking. I'm going to fire you if you don't move your ass and actually do something. And that was all the motivation that I need to double down and go even harder. And I've reached those points in my life of almost getting kicked from opportunities. Which is why I tell all my students within the DSA, when you land an opportunity, make sure you go even harder. And a great example of this is Alan. Alan is one of my students who's from Perth, the same city as me, who's on an opportunity that's hyper competitive. And as soon as he joined, I told him, bro, don't think that you've made it. Don't think everything's gonna come easy. I want you to give it 110% and do double the effort that everyone else does. And he pretty much went from 0 to 9K commissions in the last 3 weeks, purely from that mindset shift. So the main takeaway here is, getting in the room isn't the goal, staying in the room is the goal. And dominating once you're there is all that matters. Sweet. Now, speaking of staying on opportunities, nothing kicks you out of the room faster than having a bad name. Your name travels faster than your results and your skill sets combined. If you miss deadlines, If you ghost your manager, if you show up late to team meetings, every small behavior, it literally compounds into your reputation. And in this industry, your name is like a digital resume. For example, I knew a friend of mine who would miss every single team meeting, every single call, like every single training. He wouldn't do his admin, he wouldn't do everything, and he just couldn't be trusted. So what ended up happening is, even though he was extremely talented as a sales rep, he actually got let go, and we hired someone else. Because at the end of the day, like, that's the standard. And me personally, on an opportunity where I was doing 40K a month in commissions, that company did $1 million a month in take-home profit. And the first thing that they told us is, I don't care how good you are at sales, Kashi, if you're not doing your admin, if you don't show up to calls, if you're late to calls, instant fired. Instantly. No excuses. They don't care at all. So that's why I'm telling you, beginners blow opportunities because they don't understand simple things like this. And reputation is like oxygen. Right? You breathe it every single day and you don't notice it until it's actually gone, until your reputation is bad. Because when it's gone, you're done. It's very hard to recover from it. So yeah, main takeaway here is the person who over communicates, who follows through, who owns mistakes fast, your reputation will compound faster than your commission checks itself. Sweet. But what's really interesting is if we look on the flip side, even if your name is clean, if you don't act like a top performer, you'll be overlooked. So as much as negative like reputation is detrimental to your success, positive reputation is even more sweet. But what's super interesting is if we look at the other side, even if your name is clean, if you don't act like a top performer, you'll still be overlooked. And positive reputation can really get you places. Act like a closer before anyone calls you one. For example, beginners wait to be recognized before they perform like pros. Top performers, from what I notice and what I used to do, is they do the opposite. They show up early to calls. They take notes. They ask the most questions. They lead the room before anyone even gives them a title. And that energy instantly gets noticed. For example, when I was new and I was in the opportunity that got me to 10K a month with high ticket sales, I was the, I think, third closer that joined that team. And I remember I came in and the first group call that we had, I introduced myself. I had very good energy. And I asked the most questions out of everyone there. I just showed that I wanted to win. And if I wanted to get my call reviews done, I'd be the first one. I'd even message my sales managers beforehand, before we do a call review, saying, hey man, I shotgun my call review. That way I get it reviewed first. And not only did my sales manager see that winner energy in me, but my teammates saw that winner energy in me. And that led to a lot of my success. And as a byproduct of that, making a lot of money. And even to describe this in an analogy is, if you guys play competitive sports, the only way to win and become number one at anything you do, especially at games like sport, is you show up early. You work the hardest. You show up the earliest, you leave the last, and you wear that captain's armband. You don't want to be picked. You basically prove that you deserve it. So main takeaway here is, don't wait to be treated like a professional. Act like one from day one, and people respect posture long before they see performance. And the final mistake, the one that kills the most dreams, it's simple but deadly. The opportunity you're on isn't hard. Your lack of discipline and hard work actually is. Everyone loves sales. Everyone loves making money when it's smooth. When you can just chill, sit back, have a drink, and watch the money pour in. But when there's no-shows, there's rejections, there's objections, there's admin work, not so much. But that's where the mastery happens. The professionals don't skip the boring stuff. They actually embrace it. They dominate it, because that's what's required to be the best possible entrepreneur that you can. For example, in my peak, when I was doing 40K a month in commissions, towards the early starts of when I was doing that, I wasn't as efficient at sales as I was towards the later part of my sales journey. So there were days where I had 12 hours of calls back to back. I'd have to do CRM updates. I'd have to do follow-ups. I had 2 team meetings a day. I'd have to do admin, core reviews. All these things are the sacrifices that I had to make to get to where I am today. And of course, it was exhausting. I felt burnt out. However, that consistency and me training that muscle is the reason why I was consistently, top 1 or 2 on the leaderboard of my team. It's like training for a marathon. Everyone loves the race because that's the main event. But the champions, the ones who win it, are the ones who do the miles that no one else sees. So main takeaway here is, do the boring work, especially when you don't feel like it, because that's where the real professionals are made. So yeah, those are the main reasons beginners blow sales opportunities, and I see it time and time again. And I've got very, very, very close to blowing opportunities myself. So the reality is, if you're in a position where you're a beginner and you've blown opportunities before and you're on one right now, You don't need a better script. You don't need more sales training. You don't need anything else. You just need better standards. And if you're ready to build those standards and work hard, and you want to ask me questions about sales, mindset, development, what I'll do, only for the ones that are actually ready to change their standards, I'll drop my Instagram in the link below. That way you can message me any questions you have. Other than that, implement everything I told you and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.